Hi, everybody. Welcome to the session. This is a session which I'm talking about the difficulty level uh, of the CAT experience. A lot of you have been asking me about the difficulty level of the CAT experience tests, and uh, while I've been busy making those tests and making sure that we are giving you the best possible quality in those questions. When I decided to write this test series, me and Meenakshi ma'am, when we decided to write this test series this year, the whole idea for us was to create a test series that not only gives you the real experience of the cat, but but uh, also gives you. Just give me a second. Also gives you a learning experience. Also gives you a learning experience for the for the uh, in the context. I mean, when you talk about the purpose of a test series for cat, there are two dimensions to the purpose. One of course is the practice element, right? There are actually three dimensions that any test series fulfills in your cat prep journey. The first dimension is that it is a practice element. It gives you practice of every question type, every chapter, every difficulty level, variance of difficulty level, and it also gives you a real time practice on where you don't know what the next question is going to be like, what difficulty it's going to be, which chapter is going to be. You have to identify the topic, the chapter, all those things. Practice. No, nothing gives you better than actually taking a mock test. So that was one of the objectives that we had when we started writing the CAD experience test series for this year. And the second objective, of course, is the learning, and that's a very important objective. In fact, one of the things that I always tell people is that when you are preparing for the CAT during the testing phase, the last 3 months, I mean, and CAT preparation without testing phase being implemented properly is always going to be half-baked. So you have to have a very strong. In fact, you can get through the CAT, you can get to IIMS without doing a very strong basic set of basic work, but without doing good quality testing and high quality analysis and learning through the testing, you're not going to be able to get through the CAT. So one of the things that I always tell people, and that's one of the approaches that I took to my getting into IIM Bangalore also, was that for every question, I had this agreement, so to say, with every question I used to solve in my mocks when I used to take them as a student. And I tell students that you also have to have this agreement with every question. Boss, you'll beat me only once. I will lose to your logic only once, maximum. I'll try not to lose to that also when I see a new logic in a question that I'm doing. But ठीक है, तुम एक बार मेरे को हरा सकते हो. You cannot beat me a second time. So that was one of the things that I always tell you, all the students who are taking the CAT experience. Those who have not enrolled, please go ahead and enroll for it, because the way I'm structuring the papers and the way I'm building the logic in the questions, and I'm quite sure you guys are feeling those of you who are taking the tests are feeling the intensity with which the questions are coming to you. And in fact, I typically, for making one mock test paper, one section, it takes me around 10 to 15 hours. So if I'm making the quant section, it takes me around 10 hours, 10 to 15 hours minimum to create the quants section for a 40-minute test for you. So that's the amount of work that is going in. And uh, uh, if you take this approach with the CAT experience questions, and also do take this approach with the previous year CAT papers also, and if you want to take only uh, 25 to 30 tests, my recommendation will be you take the 10 CAT experience tests and take the 18 replicats, CAT 17, CAT 18, CAT 19, two papers each, CAT 20, 21, 22, 23, three papers each. So you've got 18 replicats available, the actual CAT papers. So you have to take these 25 and keep this approach that if once I come across a question, I'll understand the logic of the question, and that logic will become mine. So the next time that logic comes, the question will be different, of course, लॉजिक रिपीट, क्वेश्चन रिपीट नहीं होगा लेकिन लॉजिक रिपीट होगा. कैट में भी आई कैन शो यू हंड्रेड्स ऑफ इंस्टेंसेस ऑफ लॉजिक रिपीटिंग. एक क्वेश्चन में लॉजिक है, दूसरा क्वेश्चन 3 years later same logic, 5 years later same logic. I've seen two CAT questions 15 years apart where the same logic has been used. So that is how intense the logic repetition is. So if you take that second approach of logic repetition, that's going to always that I'll lose to a question only once, and I learn during that learning. I'll learn during that losing to the question. I'll learn what to do in that situation. Next time I'll be ready, and I'm not going to allow it to beat me. That's the second dimension. The third dimension of what a test does, it gives you feedback, right? And one of the reasons why we do not believe in giving percentiles, direct percentiles based on the score and what other people have done, etc. Is there are I come from a slightly traditional background in terms of CAT preparation. When I prepared for the CAT, we had no mock test series of this sort where you could actually sit across from 5,000 people. The CAT experience now is being given by around 5,000 people. So we didn't have that structure. So during our time, CAT prep used to be very simple. And the simple aspect of CAT prep was कि you score this much and you'll get angles. तो हम लोग को इतना ही पता रहता था कि 100 उस टाइम 175 मार्क का पेपर होता था, 1 mark पर क्वेश्चन. हम लोग को इतना ही पता रहता था कि 120 स्कोर करो, तुम चारों IIM कॉलेज जाएंगे. उतना ही पता था, +1 marks and -0.25 marks, and that is what we used to focus on. And sometimes I feel that the simple things in life are slightly better than the complex things in life. So when I tell people to prepare for CAT, my perspective is कि percentile मत देखो, अपना score पे focus करो. I mean, I've cracked the CAT 22 times. 99.99 was my percentile last year. Last year it was 99.97. So every time I get that kind of percentile, and why I'm able to match that percentile, because I'm not bothered about the percentile. What I'm bothered about is what score can I do. If as far as I protect my score, my percentile will be fine. As far as I can score well, my percentile will be fine. But at the same time, as I had promised all of you, I'll be giving you a percentile predictor chart for each of the CAT experience tests that we are releasing. And we're basically building it on the basis of difficulty level. So while the personal predictor chart is an estimation, but it will be a fairly accurate estimation, because what we are doing is we are mapping the actual CAT paper, the difficulty level of various CAT papers across the last 7-8 years. And we also, of course, know that in each of these papers, what score got what percentile. And we also have a fair idea of not just a fair idea, and a question by question idea of the difficulty level of each question that we are setting in the CAT experience test series. So given that aspect, what we are doing is we are trying to map, and we also, of course, from the CAT, we know the percentile scores at different scores, what percentiles are there in every section. And typically, a general thumb rule रहता है CAT में कि if you score 99 percentile in all 3 sections, you'll get a 99.7 overall, and so on. These kind of then from a 99.7 percentile score to a 99 percentile score, there's a drop of around 17-18% score. So these dimensions we actually, at least since I've been tracking this exam for the last 25-30 years, we have kind of very closely inbuilt in, and you can actually triangulate things from 2-3 angles. Okay, 99 percentile kitna aega, based on 2-3 ways of calculating it, right? So based on what your difficulty level thought is with respect to the CAT paper versus what is your 99.7 percentile prediction versus what is an 18%, 17-18% below that, what score it is coming. So you 2-3 angles से आप triangulate करके एक score पे आते हो, then you say that okay, this is the scientific score. And if you see my CAT analysis, my CAT predictions with respect to the net score that I talk about, which will give you the 99 percentile and the 99.9 percentiles, etc. Every year I do that. The years in which I take the CAT myself, I do the analysis of what I feel will be the 99 percentile score. If you see, my scores have been almost ditto. I mean, last year I missed by around 2-3 marks, but the 99 percentile score I predicted at 72-73 marks. I said I will not be surprised if it comes to 72-73. 76 पे आया था. But उसके अलावा बाकी साल का अगर तुम देख लो जाके वापस, you'll see that my scores have been almost, I've stuck my neck out over what other people are saying, and my scores have been more accurate than anybody else on that, because I triangulated from 3-4 angles: the difficulty level angle, the feel of the paper angle, and so on. So I was doing that with the CAD Experience 1, and this session is about a discussion of the difficulty level of CAD Experience 1. So I wanted to show you some of my notes and some of the stuff that we have done to map this. So now, for example, and I'm going to I have this on my sheet here, which you can see here. And if you see the sheet, this is the difficulty level mapping of CAT 2023 quants. So to do this, what we did was we kind of went into the CAT 23 question paper, and we looked at every question of the quant section. Okay, this question, based on the difficulty level, based on the trigger points in this question, based on I mean, ultimately CAT में तो हर question 3 step का ही होता है, which we try to adhere to in the CAT experience also. But sometimes the questions are more difficult than others because it's not so evident what to do. So triggers, self-generated triggers, thoughts के basis पे triggers हैं. The triggers are obeying instructions triggers. What are the length of the question? What are the length of the steps in the question? What is the complexity of the steps in the question, etc. ये सब मिला के we can, for example, this question we rated as LOD 3 because इसमें most लोगों के question में दिखता ही नहीं करना क्या है. राइट, इसमें बेसिक लॉजिक होता है कि a+5 को a+5/1 and b² - 15 by 1 should be equal, and that should also be equal to 8b/4. So that logic most people don't get to see there, और वो दिखेगा नहीं तो you don't know what to do in this question. Likewise, this is also an LOD 3 question in my estimate. So what we have done is we have estimated. You can see these two questions we put as LOD 3 in our sheet. So I'll go back to that sheet now. So we actually mapped every question of the CAT 23 pattern. We also done that for CAT 22 and CAT 21, but I don't have that sheet with me. And this I'll for when I do the CAT Experience 2 analysis, you will see that sheet here. So the average difficulty level of CAT 23 based on this turned out to be 2.60, right? And when I looked at the TCE, the quant section of the CAD Experience, this is the CAD Experience 1. Difficulty level of each question. This is the CAD Experience 1. Where the difficulty level of each question is mapped. And this is the CAD Experience 2. So 2.5 is the difficulty level of the CAD Experience quants of the TCE 1. So again, we did the same logic. Every question, we went into the question, looked at the triggers in the question, how much self-generated thought, how much obeying instructions. Generally, the more the self-generated thoughts, the more difficult the question is. What is the complexity of the steps? How common are the self-generated thoughts that are being asked? Or how common are the obeying instructions, part of the problem that are asked? So those dimensions, and this is what, so we got to feel that 2.5, 2.6, 1 or 2. I mean, you sometimes these are subjective markings. So sometimes you will mark a LOD 2 question, LOD 3. So broadly, the CAD Experience quants for 1 and 2, the CAD Experience 1 and 2 for us was very similar to the feel of the paper was very similar to the CAD 23 paper. It was not an easier paper than that. Marginally, maybe you will find two questions slightly easier than the CAT 23 paper out of 22, but most of you might not have been able to find why that those two. Hota kya hai ki, how difficult a paper feels depends on the on how many easy questions, how many setters there are in between, and how many LOD2 and LOD3 questions का proportion क्या है, right? So if you see the CAT experience one, there's not a single LOD1 question, right? And if you see the CAT 23 slot one, I have marked at least one question there as LOD1 there, but in slot two and slot three, I could not find a single LOD1 question. So broadly, if you see, the field is very, very similar to each other. So which is why we said that, okay, the quant section ka percentiles will more or less map what happened in CAT 23, right? Ye significantly difference, 2.6, 2.5 can be a small, I mean, this is not, in my view, it's not a very significant difference because of the, as I said, because the subjectivity between LOD2 and 3 marking, right? LOD1 question nahi ho to dikh jata hai. So 2 or 3 marking mein sab thoda element of subjectivity to hai. You can't, I mean, there's no metric to decide. So it's based on, as I said, whether I put a question LOD 2 or 3 depends on a final judgment about how many steps there are, how difficult those steps are, how complex the work, the calculation work is in the question, how simple or how difficult the triggers and reactions are, how common those triggers and reactions are, how much self-generated thought, what is the proportion of self-generated thought. सब मिला जुला गया. So 2.5, 2.6 is not too different from each other. The same way the TC DILR is, if you see the DILR LOD for data interpretation logical reasoning, in the TC1 we felt that the first set was a medium level set, the second set was an LOD3 set, the third set was again a medium level set, and the fourth set was again an LOD3 set. So both the second and fourth sets in the CAT experience one were around 12 to 15 minute timeline. And if you make a couple of wrong turns, it can easily go to 17, 18, 20 minutes. Whereas the first set and the third set of CAT experience one were somewhere in the 8 to 12 minute range. So somebody very efficient might be able to do one of them in 8, 9 minutes, but normally it will take around 10 to 12 minutes, which is why the difficulty level is 2.5. एंड कैट को भी देखोगे तो 2.5 के आसपास ही डिफिकल्टी लेवल रहता है उसका DILR का. दो LOD3 सेट्स रहेंगे, दो LOD2 सेट्स रहेंगे. LOD1 सेट्स तो देना बंद ही कर दिया उन्होंने. The last time I saw an LOD1 set in CAT was 4 years ago. So based on this, and then of course verbal में the difficulty level depends on the ease with which you can find the answers, on how many close options there are, on how difficult the reading was, etc. So based on that, we felt that the verbal section of CAT experience one was on the slightly easier side, right? And for the verbal section, this is the percentile bands. You can have a look at this. These are the percentile bands. So what we are saying is, for the verbal section, 44 to 46 is the 99 percentile band, right? For DILR, 27 to 28 is the 99 percentile band. And for fonts, since the field was exactly same to CAT 23, we have put the 99 percentile band in the same level. And if you score these three, 44, 27, and 25, to get a net score of 96, that will give you the 99.7 percentile. And around 17-18% below that will be the 99 percentile score. And the second triangulation of this was the 99.7 percentile in CAT 23 was 92, 93. There's one more factor that has to be considered. On the D-Day, the pressure is higher for people. So even if the question quality is same, you might have a 2-3 mark, a lower score in the actual CAT than a mock test. So for that reason, otherwise, and of course, the verbal was slightly on the easier side. The quant and DILR is more or less mapped to what the CAT is. So these are the numbers, 35 plus. And if I just take you through the verbal, 55 to 57 is 99.9, 49 to 51 is 99.5, 44 to 46 is 99, 41 to 42 is 97, 37 to 39 band is 95. Of course, we are giving you bands. It is not something which I can tell you कि 37.3 पे 95 आएगा और 37.4 पे 95.02 आएगा, right? These are predicted percentiles at different ranges. And as a student, there's all the feedback you need with respect to percentile. Because what I would recommend you to do is you try to shift. Let's say in verbal, you are getting in this range, 27, 28 in an easy paper, 23, 24 in a tough paper. If that is a range, you can do yourself a big favor by shifting this range to 37 to 42, for instance. Easy paper आएगा तो 42 ले आऊंगा, tough paper आएगा तो 37 आएगा. So if you shift your band from getting 23 to 28 in verbal in an easy paper to a tough paper, if your band can shift to 37 to 42, and the underlying factor is just the fact that you get 3-4 more questions correct, 3-4 mistakes you eliminate, so your percentile will take care of itself, right? So you don't need to, I mean, as I said, you really don't need to bother much about कि इसके बीच में मेरा exact कितना है, right? So don't get into that kind of thinking. It's not required. And I have never believed in that calculation of कि इतने लोग ने टेस्ट दिया और इतने लोग में मेरा ये percentile है because I was a topper. I mean, see, if let's say if there's a test series that none of the CAT toppers are who are going to top the exam are taking, उस test series में 90 marks अगर topper को आएगा, तो वो जो straight percentile देने वाला है कि इस बंदे को 100 percentile दे दो. CAT में 90 marks पर 100 percentile थोड़ी आएगा. So that's not a very I think it's a flawed way to look at percentiles. So you can see the bands. Verbal में the 90 percentile band is 31 to 33. And 16 marks, normally 55% of this is 60 percentile, roughly around that. So you can see that the DILR bands are these 35 plus. If you got 2 sets and a bit correct, 2 sets completely correct, and the third set, if you could put your teeth into the third set with a couple of questions, you will score a 99.9 percentile in this test. 27, 28 was the 99. 95 is again crucial. 18, 19. 85 is crucial because of most IIMs having a cutoff at this point. They'll only consider your score if you have got 85 in all the sections. So that means basically one set. If you did one set, you would get this score. If you did 2 sets, you would be at 99 percentile. If you did 3 sets, you'll be close to 100 percentile in DILR. When you talk about fonts again, 9 questions, 10 questions correct. 9 to 10 questions correct will give you that 99 percentile in this test, right? 10 to 11 questions correct with, of course, some negative marking will give you the 99.5 percentile. 13 plus questions correct if you got in CAT Experience 1. You would be at 99.9 percentile in my view. And 17, 18 is the 95 percentile. So 6 questions, all correct. 6 to 7 questions, all correct, mostly correct. And 4 questions with maybe a few errors correct will give you 80 percentile, and 2 questions will give you the 60 percentile score. So this is broadly what it is. And as I said, the advice to all of you is to make sure that you change your bands of thinking. So going overall, this is the individual sectional bands for quants, DI, and LR. And overall, these are the numbers. The 99 percentile in our view is at 78 plus marks in this paper. The 97 percentile is at 66 plus marks. The 95 percentile would be at somewhere around 57 plus marks. 47 plus would be this band. If you again see the band and compare it against the CAT 23 percentiles and scores, we are around 4-5 marks above it because of the easier verbal section. But as you know, From the second test onwards, the verbal is also not on the easier side. So maybe the bands will come down a little bit, but we'll do an individual analysis. I'll not explain the whole logic in every video, but we'll do an individual analysis with these bands for you. Just a short 2-3 minute video for you to follow the structure, right? 24 plus marks पे 60 percentile है, 40 plus marks पे 85 percentile है यहाँ पे, right? So an 80 percentile would be at around 34 plus marks. So this will be the bands, and as I said, focus on improving your score. Focus on how many questions you can get correct. Don't bother much about percentile. The prediction, I mean, the percentile will go up by plus minus 2 marks from here, 2-3 marks. बहुत difficult paper हो जाएगा तो 75-74 पे आ जाएगा. बहुत easy हो जाएगा तो 83 पे चला जाएगा, 99 percentile. So broadly is that. So your focus always has to be the band of marks you're getting, not bother so much about this thing. So you have to be able to break free. If your scores are stuck in 60-70, focus on how you'll get to 85-90, and that'll take care of a lot of things. Right. So that's it from my side. I hope this helped you, and we'll do a similar analysis for each of the CAD experience tests that we are releasing. I hope you're enjoying the test series. Those of you who have not enrolled, please go ahead and enroll. I think the way I've made these tests, these are the first 10 tests anybody should take. And that's why we have got this pricing for you also, so that nobody has an excuse of why they are not taking this test series. Thank you so much. Please do help us by spreading the word around.